Now, moving into designing and information architecture is a very important deliverable when it comes to designing solutions for your clients and your customer, or even optimizing an existing website or an existing experience. This is what you will learn in this class. I will be sharing with you the course outline. I will be sharing with you the schedule. I will be sharing with you the breakdown for the assignment. So today we are going to go through a little bit of housekeeping, but we are going to be able to skip some of it in terms of my intro. But I will maybe share with you a little bit of my experience with IAs. So you're often going to hear information architecture as IA. IA for information architecture, IAs for information architectures. You probably already have heard about information architecture, but it's really the foundation. If you think of IA, it's your plan for your house. It's your black and white plan. So like an architect plan, and this is why we call it architecture. It's structure. So if we're arranging, we are organizing, we are structuring the information, the content, or we are deciding, are we building a house? Are we building a condo? Are we building a kiosk? Are we building a mobile app? What are we building? For whom? And if it's a house, then how many floors and how many rooms and where will the rooms be placed? And so there are many questions, but it's a blueprint. It's black and white. But then eventually, this is where you're going to learn in this class, how do we move from information architecture, which is a diagram, to your original initial wireframes, sketching, designing, black and white again, always. And that will be the core focus for my part of the class. So in this class, again, this is a mega course, and we are two teachers, two professors for this class. So there's myself and there is Asma Arslan. So I don't know if you've had any opportunity to have Asma as a professor, but I'm definitely positive you will enjoy Asma's expertise and all her knowledge when it comes to user experience design and user interface design as well, which will be the second part of this course. So I will share more with you for the schedule. But we've divided up this course so that there is a part where we are going to talk about information architecture, which is really the blueprint and the structure. And then once you have the IA, the information architecture, the next deliverable are the full wireframes and the full sketches, and also creative and UI element, the interaction elements, and the details of what will be on each of the pages. And then to color, to typography. So these will be the other topics that Asma will be teaching as well. So again, it is a mega course, and then our big project. So we have a big project in this class too. Our big project will be in combination of this class and also with the 1512 course that we've talked about yesterday. And the recommendation for the main project is to work with the same team as we've said. Pick a brand, pick a company as well, and then we're going to work with these brands and these companies and these teams for the semester, for this class, and the usability testing class as well. But we are going to go over a bit more details today. So welcome. I'm really happy to be teaching this class, and we're just going to dive in. But before I do this, are there any questions about anything that I said? But we are going to go in more details. But was there anything that anybody wanted to raise or ask at this point before we jump into the core content? Okay. Perfect. So let me just continue on. So again, week 1 to week 7, I will be the main teacher for this class, and then you will meet Asma, who's going to be teaching week 8 and onward. And let me just now move. So I'd like to know if today you're feeling a little bit better and where we are in terms of your mood. I asked you that question yesterday at the end of the class. Now I know it's Friday, and it's probably been a busy week and a long week, but now I have uploaded this presentation on Blackboard, so you are actually able to use the pen at the top So I'm gonna, and then you can draw on it directly if you want. You can circle, you can put some little hearts. So I will say I'm on fire myself. We have lazy, yes, it's Friday. It's kind of grayish in Toronto if you're in Toronto, but we are getting close to the weekend, so we should be on fire. Yay, we have some fire. Yes, we do have some worried. Understood. Um, and good, a lot of fire, and some laziness. So good. Well, let's hope that on week 2 or week 3, we're gonna have less worry, but then perhaps you're gonna feel the overload as well. And but we will manage it through. So I feel happy to know that we're a bit more on fire, on the fire side than the lazy side, and we still have some worry. And yes, we have creative people in this class, so some have made some nice little drawing, and to some of the kids, let's make this look at some angry teeth too. Um, I knew we would have fun with this particular slide. Anyhow, so I feel better, and again, I'm here to support. And if there is anything that I can do to help in throughout the semester, please let me know. And I'm glad to see someone said they feel calm and composed. That's awesome. Glad to hear. Great. So we'll keep it that way. Basic rules. So if you want to come on cam, that will be super appreciated, not just for me, but for your peers and your colleagues. Feel free to use the hand feature, and also please feel free to interrupt and ask questions. So it's really not interruption; it's actually participation, the way that I see, and I will be more than happy to answer. And this is a two-way class, so it's not just about me talking. You will see that we are going to have some exercises today, and we also going to have a bit of a break at some point. So I will see where there's a natural time to put a break, get a bit of a 10 minutes stretch, and then we'll come back and we'll finish at 3:20. So what is the agenda today? We're going to have a bit of an introduction, and then we're going to do some course overview. We're going to look at the critical path. And then we will talk about what is IA? Why do we do IA? What is IA versus navigation flow? So these are assignments. So I'll have a chance to cover that a little bit with you. What are some of the components of IA? What are some of the information needs? And then how do people retrieve information? So often it's going to be search, and then we're going to have browse that you're going to see as well. And this week assignment is Latch. So you're going to learn more about Latched. What is Latch? It's an acronym to help you remember the different ways that you can actually categorize content. So it probably means little for you today, but it will make a lot more sense as we go. Now, just so that you know, there's a lot of content in as well in this class. Just let use about it testing. So there will be some async videos that I have repurposed from previous classes as well for this class, that you will be able to carry on and listen beyond the PowerPoint. We have 101 slides in this PowerPoint for today. So obviously we're not going to be able to go through all of it, but I will share, and I have already shared the material on Blackboard for those videos that you can actually look on your own, visualize on your own, and get more insights as well. But I will give more details about Latch as we before we actually leave the class today, because it's part of the assignment and it's actually a fun assignment too. And I will say that lab, and we have about maybe 5 labs for the next 7 weeks. So it's pretty much almost 1 lab a week. They are due on Monday midnight. And then this week's lab should probably take you, I would say, probably an hour to do. And all labs, and I will explain a little bit more, are the intent is that you practice what we learn. I give you feedback, and then it will help you for your assignment. So the labs are connected to the assignment, and it will make you better IAs. So that you can actually improve. And as I said yesterday, my goal is that you will become better as you progress through the semester, and that is what I have seen. And the more you get engaged, the more that will be the outcome. So you know me, I have shared with you who I was, and then yesterday you've got great links of details about what I have done, my experience. So when it comes to design, creating software, creating website, creating kiosks, I have done it all. For 25 years, I was heavily involved and hands-on, roll up my sleeves, and I would do design. In fact, in a lot of companies that I had very limited resources, and because of my background in UX and user research design, center design, research, wireframing, eyes, even flows, describing flows and doing the user research and doing the IAs. I was often I would end up doing them by myself, or I would have someone on my team, but there would be more work than one person. So I would often find myself helping and doing some of the design, doing some of the IAs, and starting from a brief and then really thinking about content ideas, feature ideas, doing the eyes, doing the diagram, and then moving on to wireframing, thinking about the navigation, and then mobile and responsive as well. So I have designed it all, and I have done a lot of desktop, obviously, responsive, and I have done several mobile app application in my career, some of which are for the travel industry, some of it are for telco, and then I have designed kiosks as well, so some interactive kiosks for airport to check in, to bring you luggages. So I have had opportunity to touch multiple platform, multiple users, multiple industries, and design and do, and also test and do usability testing, which is the other course that we have together. So this course is trying to bring it all together. And then IAs is something that I have been teaching. This is my third semester that I teach IAs, this course. Obviously, we do adapt the course for each of the students in the semester, but this is the second time that I teach I in a row. So I taught in the winter, I taught in the summer, and now. So I'm becoming very familiar with the content, and I think you will enjoy. So as I said yesterday, I will find opportunities to make you think. I will find opportunities to use real life. We're only going to be looking really at real life businesses starting from today. How we can transfer some of the skill, critical thinking. I would say data as well. So I will inject some notions of data. Data is so important. As a user experience design, I will tell you, you better be comfortable with data because often the data will be the input to, hey, we need to have a new IA. And we need to make some changes to our IA because we're noticing people are not finding our content, right? How do we know? Because you have Google Analytics on your site, on your website, or you have another tracking tool on your kiosk, and you're seeing that people are actually not even clicking on the areas and the choices that you're presenting to them that you think are probably most critical. So that is a bit alarming, right? So data, I will say, on in parentheses, and I will use that from time to time in class. A parenthesis mean I'm kind of opening like a side notes that I'm sharing with you for your own benefits, and then I close a parenthesis and then we carry on with the content. But data, if you have an opportunity to do some courses to look about data, understand data, I would in your career as well. Okay, so we're going to do some discovery. Again, it's a safe environment, so I don't expect you to know much about IAs. This is a time to learn. This is a time to ask questions, and this is a time to stretch and then push yourself as well. Now, very important when it comes to information architecture, there is not one good information architecture. The IA, and you will learn, IA is as good as it's supporting the business, as it's supporting that specific business, and it's as good as it's supporting the user and the user goals for that specific set of users that you have defined and outlined. So you could come up with multiple IAs. You could come up with multiple navigation. You could come up with multiple footer navigation. They could all look pretty, but if the consumer is still not able to find what they're looking for, if the customer are not able to navigate through those experiences, we are failing. So, and there's no one recipe. So, and I was often asked in my career, who has the best travel website? And then I would say, well, there are multiple travel websites there, but they're all good for their purpose and intent for Expedia or for TripAdvisor or for Air Canada. But Air Canada has very specific business needs. Air Canada has a different processes. Air Canada has different products. Air Canada has different priorities than an Expedia. Expedia is online only. Air Canada has airport. Air Canada has luggage handling. Air Canada has a lot of information and a lot more content. Has airplanes that Expedia does not, right? So there are a lot of differences, but an IE will be as good as it is supporting and checking all of the elements that are important that we're going to learn in class. So again, the hard work will pay you, and the more engaged you are, the better you will be, and then the more you will get from the class. So this class again is called User Experience Design, User Interface, and IA's navigation, your choices of search, your browsing options, and all of that will have a huge effect on the user experience. So designing good IAs is the beginning of your website. And we will learn in this class, what do we end up seeing from the information architecture diagram into the wireframe or into the website? And that will have a huge effect on the experiences of many users. So if you think of Sunwing or even Air Canada, and that would be a little bit of a quiz, so you can answer using the chat if you want. How many visitors per day do you think Air Canada's website get? So let's guess. So how many visits aircanadas.com website do you think get on a daily basis? Feel free to come audio or feel free to come on the chat. The point here is your work is very impactful. We don't realize it often, but it's very, very impactful. Okay, so 50,000, no, 10,000, no, 5,000, no, over 10,000, way over, way over. So I'm talking visits, so not page views or impressions. So Shubham, we can see that Shubham has exposure to some of those data. He's very specific. So I'm talking about clicks or visits or number of users, or let's say sessions, if you're familiar with sessions. Okay, Marisa, very close. So Air Canada has about 350,000 people coming, unique visitor coming to their site on a daily basis. Tanisha, very optimistic. That would be great. Now, it's good to have a lot of users, but are they converting? Conversion could be, what could a conversion be when someone goes to Air Canada vacations? I think I asked that question yesterday about usability testing, but when we think of a conversion, so from all the people that are coming to Air Canada vacation, what would be some of the reason why someone would come to Air Canada's website, for example? Yeah, booking a flight, book a flight. Maybe they want to make a change. Maybe they want to cancel. Maybe they want to look at what are the travel conditions with COVID, right? Check in information, do their web check-in. Exactly. These are all user goals, right? And each of those user goals need to be somewhere in the information architecture. And you have to make choices, right? So if you think of checking information, checking price information, booking a flight, look at travel rules. So all of these become potential cards or potential content, potential pages that you need to end up putting into your diagram. And then what we will do in IA is knowing the reasons why a consumer will come to your site, and then knowing where do I actually make that available on my site, and then building the tree structure, and then making choices too, right? And grouping those related type of content or options together and then give them a name. That's really the intent. That's what we will do. So you could think of Air Canada has an existing website, but let's say that you are working for a startup and they don't have a website. Then the sky is the limit, and they will give you a list of features, a list of things that they want to do, and they will say, Ashley, go and build me a website. Your first design or a solution will be your information architecture. And then from the information architecture, we're going to move on to wireframing and then design, putting the nice color. And then in this class, we're actually going to be doing usability testing of what you will be producing, and that becomes your portfolio. Okay. So that will be for the main project. And but we are going to have, and I will share with you the assignments. We're going to have assignments to help you to get to your final beautiful portfolio, and that you will be able to put on your LinkedIn or online, and for people to see the magnificent work that you have done. So when we think of good information architecture, and really what we're trying to do is a good IA, because there are a lot of IAs out there, they're not all good. What do they do normally is they will make it easy for people to actually find the content that they're looking for, right? Very easy. We want people to find their content, and that's not the big paintbrush that I want. Just want something smaller. And then we need to align to the business, align with the business strategy. Oh, this is even bigger. Let me just change slide. Hopefully it's clear. Eraser. I'm using a pen, and that pen doesn't seem to be, yes, clear all annotation. Good, let's begin again. Okay, this is not working for me, so let's avoid this. So one of our goals is we want consumer, when they come to Air Canada Vacation, to be able to find your content, right? Whether they're browsing, whether they're searching, and then very easily. And also, one of the reasons why we need to do good IA is having a good information architecture that is well structured will help Google. When Google sees Air Canada's website, Google goes also through all of the pages on Air Canada website. He reads all of the content, he reads the title, he reads all of the pages, and he will go page by page by page and try to understand what is this site all about. That is how Google actually know or discover that there's a site for Air Canada that sells flight tickets. And then this is how Air Canada or Google will choose to show Air Canada when someone says Air Canada or travel tickets or airplane tickets in Toronto, from Toronto to Cancun. And he will know that there's a site there that exists called Air Canada because it was built properly and it was using clear labels, and labels that even consumer understood because consumer end up buying. So he has algorithm, and this is what we meant by making the product discoverable too. But what happens though as well is a lot of times people will go to Google and they'll say flights to Toronto, from Cancun to Toronto, and then you may end up on the landing page on Air Canada, and then people will scan the page and see what else can I do at Air Canada. Oh, I can book a flight, or I can book a hotel, or I can book a cruise as well. So we're going to learn more about what do we mean by discovery. And good IAs are designed for business and users, and I will share with you an acronym. So on this specific here slide, we're seeing what looks like a tree. And this is what we're going to be building when we are talking about diagramming or IA diagrams. And it starts from the shoe website homepage. So usually it's the homepage. You often have a homepage. And then you have the second level. So women's shoes or men's shoes. So it looks like this is a shoe store, right? And then they have two categories, very high level category called women's or shoes or men's shoes. And then when you click on women's shoes, then you have the high heels, you have the flat shoes. And then when you click on high heels, you have product one, product two. So this is your hierarchy diagram. We're going to talk more about hierarchy today. But I will tell you, it's easy. Anybody can do an information architecture, but the challenge is to have a good information architecture that uses label that user will understand, your user will understand, that are important to your business, and that you'll be able to also expand and then optimize. So this is why you're doing this course. But your challenge is a lot of people are doing eyes and they think that it's easy to do the boxes, but they don't really necessarily understand everything that comes with good eyes. So you will learn that in your class, and that will equip you as better UX, and it will give you the confidence as well. And you'll be able to speak specifically what the eye does, and then you'll be able to look at bad example of eyes, and you'll be able to say, yes, Expedia has, is a good brand, but when it comes to finding X, it's really difficult. When it comes to booking a flight, it's really difficult. Or when you go to Roots Canada and you try to return an items, it's really difficult to even return an item because they've made it very not accessible, and vice versa. So you will see that. This course is all about helping you with concepts. So we're going to talk about some theory or psychology of good eye. And I will tell you, eye is very, very affected by psychology. And eye is all about good psychology, knowing the user, knowing their psychology, knowing their mindset. And if you remember yesterday about usability testing, how do we get into someone's head is by meeting and spending time with user and doing research. And one of the technique is doing usability testing and then asking the participant to think aloud as well and share with us what they're trying to do when they go to the website. Okay, so you will learn that, but this is how we get into someone's head. So these are techniques and methods that will help you understand, is my eye a good eye? Is my prototype a good prototype? And you will know, and then you'll make adjustment and you'll make changes. And it will be based on what you've seen from the user. It will be based on the words that they use. And it will be based on what they're sharing with you in the session, and it will make you better eyes. And your design will be a better design. So in Blackboard, and I don't know if you, well, I know you are in because you are in the Blackboard video today, but we have multiple sections, and let me just share with you so that we can look a little quickly about the content that you will find so that you're seeing the same. But you'll see the course message. So we do have the course message link available in 5111. So I will say that is my preference because I do look at course messages, I would say probably more often than emails. And for this course, and if you feel that you want to send me an email for 5112 here, you're welcome to. And then you have Blackboard Collaborate, you have my contact info. So at this point, Asma has not added her contact info because for week 1 to 7, really, I am your primary point of contact because I'll be teaching for a week 1 to 7. But in terms of my contact, my instructor contact, the course message is the best way to really reach out to me. I don't have office hours, but I will be able to book time with you. And if you choose to email me, you can use my email address, my Humber email address, which is available too. Some of you have used Teams, so I'm okay to use Teams as well if you want to use Teams as another way of contacting me, but I may not always be on. What else are you going to see on our Blackboard? The course outline and critical path. Before we do that, are there any questions so far based on anything that I have shared? Okay, so the course outline is available, and I do not want to look at all of the details of the course outline. We will glance the course outline as we go through the critical path, but it's available here as a PDF. And then we have the critical path. The critical path is here, and I have it open. And let me just share with you the critical path so we can look at it together. And again, it's there for you. Now, this class is easy. The other class, 5112, is easy too. We meet every week online only. So, and I'll be teaching for week 1 to 7. So if we scan through the critical path, 1 week you'll see week 1 to 7 is me. So that will take us to reading week. And then post-reading week, it will be with Asma. And then you will see for today, I'm going to introduce you to IE. What is IE? And then some of the pieces that are involved in IEs. We're actually going to look at some websites, and you will look at website as well. I will give you a little exercise. We have a lab. The lab will be latched, and then it will be due on Monday. And all of the assignments or labs are in the system so that you have them in your calendar too. Okay, so this is where you will see the critical path. But then, as I publish every week, you will get the same information. And then you will also see for each week the lab, and you will see the submission date on the lab too. But the course outline and critical path are there for you to review. There is a course textbook for this class. Is supplemental. You don't have to get it, but it's available online. So my recommendation to you is go and get it. It's available online. It's actually a good book, and you will enjoy it. It's very well written. It's super easy to understand. It's from Peter Morville. It's information architecture, and it's very easy to read. And we are using some of their content, the material, in and then I just saw a message on chat. I will take a note at the assignment. And then the book is available on the library. So my reco to you is to go and get it. Now, do I have any other textbook or anything else that I have recommended? Yeah, there are other supplemental resources as well. But every week I will be giving you some readings as well to look, to read. And again, the readings are there so that you have more information, more insights. And what you will find is when you do the readings, it's easy to connect all the pieces. It's easy to connect everything that you're learning, everything that will surface to you. Now, I make a choice of picking readings that I think that are relevant. There's so many readings about information architecture, right? There's so many things that you can read about. But one thing that we do as professors that you may not realize is we are actually picking readings and topics that we think that are relevant to what you will be exposed to and challenges and what you need to know today and tomorrow as well. That will help and will guide you in your career as well. Okay, so we spend time looking at the best readings, and so I encourage you to do the readings, but we will look at some of the reading for this week. The course schedule is here too, but it's very easy. It's every week. You and I will meet for week 1 to 7 at 12:35. So I said 12:30, but it's 12:35 until 3:20. We'll have a break. And it's going to be a mix of lecture activities. We're going to talk about perhaps challenges that you might have. And then hopefully you'll have some time to work on the lab. And if you don't, then you will have to find time outside the class to work on the labs and also the assignments. And I'm not sure if we have a week where we have a bit of a buffer, but some weeks we may adjust some of our content. We will adjust. And if I see that at some point we're struggling with deliverables and everything we have, everything is not set in stone, but it's there to guide us. But we may, if we have to adjust, we will adjust as well our content. Then assignments. So let's look at the assignments. So the way that we have broken down the assignments is as such. So the total for this course obviously is 100%. So we split the amount between my assignment and ASMA assignments, and in such a way that you will have 4 assignments that are very much about the IAs, but we have the final project that will bring it all of it together, but it will be almost a repeat of each of the assignments that we've done. So let's spend a little bit of time on here. The IA card sorting. So the first assignment that we will have is the IA card sorting assignment, and that is for 15% of the mark. Then we have a second assignment that will be the IA site mapping. So this is where we're going to move from the card sorting activities. We're going to learn everything about card sorting, and then we're going to do the diagram of the IA. The diagram of the IA looks very much like the tree structure I was showing you for the shoes, okay? And then we're going to move from a sitemap to a IA navigation design, okay? And then that is 10%. Then once we have the navigation design, and that will be for responsive and mobile, then we're going to move on to the user flow. We're going to detail the IA, the information architecture for the user flow. And that is also a visual diagramming. That is for 10%. Then we have the final project where we're going to bring it all together. And this is going to be your prototype that we will be building, that we will be doing usability testing, that we will be building in this class. So here you will do exactly what you've done in the assignment for the IA card sorting. So you will do card sorting, you will do sitemap, you will do a navigation design, and then you will do user flow as well, and for your prototype. But you will have received feedback, very specific feedback for each of your assignments. So when you get to the final project, you should be very good or better, hopefully, and that will be 40% of your mark. And this is where ASMA will be helping and taking us to the final line too. But I will stay engaged in the project until the end in the class so that I can guide you and help you when we get to the final project too. for the IE specific pieces. But we are going to be working on the same project. We are going to know what it is that we're trying to do for your teams, and we'll be there in support. And then you will learn more with Asma about color, psychology of color, typography, and creative, and design, and sketching, and all of these beautiful things too. Then we have labs. So we had a 10% that we split in 5% for me, 5% for Asma. Now, not all labs usually have a percentage allocated. So this class has 10%. So you're going to get up to 5% points for the labs. And we have 5 labs that are scheduled. And then we have one for this week. And very easy, each lab is 1%. Okay, so it is an opportunity to get feedback, and then you'll get feedback. You'll know what you need to adapt, what you need to adjust, and that will be. And my expectation, as I said, is that you will take in that feedback and you will incorporate the feedback into your assignments, and then you will get better over time. So if we look at, we will see this week, but assignment cart sorting. Someone said. So Monday, October 4th, okay? So what we've done is I clicked on the first assignment. So the first assignment, which gave us a bit of time, will be October 4th. Now, there's a total number of points that are allocated, but it will convert it to a 10 to a 15%. So our first real assignment for 15% will be October 4th, and you should see this in your calendar because it's put in here. And then we have the instruction, we have links, we also have potential cards. So we're not going to review that today. I don't think so, but pretty soon we will. And here's what's unique about this assignment. So before the mega course, we used the zoo. So we worked with the Toronto Zoo. Okay, for all assignment, it was the Toronto Zoo. And then you'll have the option to use the zoo, or you'll have the option to use your Netflix or Loblaws. But my preferences would be to use the zoo, and the reason is you will get feedback for the zoo, but then you'll do the repeats for your Loblaws or any of the other projects or teams that you will have selected with Yvonne. And I don't know if you made that choice yet. So that you have an opportunity to work on a different brand and a different business and get feedback. And then when you really get to your final project, you will have you'll be well equipped, and you'll be for whichever brand you will have selected, and then you will have obviously incorporated the feedback in here. But for the card sorting, we don't have to worry yet because we're going to be it's going to be for October 4th. But at some point we will look at the details when we are getting to the card sorting, because right now card sorting means probably little for you. And then but we do have a lab this week that we will review as well. Okay. So let's look at week number 1. So what I have done here is I have repeated all of the weeks and the topics, and my topics for week 1 to 7 are very similar. In fact, they're the same as what you have seen in the critical path. So we have information architecture and heuristic evaluation. So we will spend some time on heuristic evaluation. It's very important to understand what the heuristics are to help you with your design too. And because we're designing in this course, it will be even more critical. Then your hierarchical structure and categorization, the card sorting. We're going to do IE diagrams and best practices. We're going to look at navigation design, and also features, and how do we document feature in task flow and flow diagram. And then we're going to do week 7 will be a wrap up. So this is where we have a little bit of buffer. And then we're going to go in reading weeks, and then we're going to move on to sketching and wireframing, color theory, typography, color psychology, the UI consideration, the open session, and presentation for the final main project as well. So we're going to be presenting your final big project and portfolio that will be a repeat of all of the assignments. And then that will be the same project that you will have selected as part of with the Yvonne projects. And I think she's already shared with you. And but you'll be reapplying the card sorting and the IE and the navigation, responsive, and then as well. So is this making sense on how do we bring together 12, 11, my piece and as my piece in here so far, that is a good time to ask if we're not 100% clear. And if you need a bit time to think about it, that's okay too. Okay, our first card sorting assignment is October, we said October 4th, I believe. So we have time. But there will be a lab and you'll learn about the lab assignment. The lab assignment has nothing to do with any of the business of the brands that you have to thought maybe you've already picked. So our first assignment will be October 4th. You will see it in your calendar. Let's look at week number 1. So this week you have some readings, and my recommendation to you is do all the reading before the class so that you'll be familiar with the content and it'll be easier for you. You'll be able to connect more pieces. And then I have shared with you a really, really good tool. It's called Google Trends. And I don't know, is anybody familiar with Google Trends? Great. Yes. So Google Trends, and I invite you to explore it. Google Trends will give you a chance to explore how often do people search on specific terms. So it's very, very powerful. And this is really good for when you actually you try to do some labeling. So I'll be sharing with you. Let me just share with you quickly. So you should see at this point Google Trends. It's a free tool. And then I go to explore. And then you type in. So let's see that we want to know how often do people search Air Canada? And then I'm going to say Air Canada as airline. And I'm going to say Canada. So you can say, and these are all data coming directly from Google. So this is from Google, and Google knows exactly what people are searching on. Let's see West versus WestJet. So let's say that I want to compare how often do people search Air Canada versus WestJet. Then I get a graphical view, real-time view of how often. So we can see in here that Air Canada is being searched a lot more often than WestJet is being searched. And then it doesn't give you the amount of searches that are done, but there are some other tools that exist with this. But this may be very useful for when you're trying to think of a label, for example. So let's say that you want to say, do I say all-inclusive as a research, or do I say package? For example, and I don't know if packages, but maybe this is not the best, but if you had to decide between all-inclusive and packages, you could see if one of them is actually used more often, right? So you can see that there was a time where packages were used more often, but then all-inclusive has started to picking up as well. And perhaps packages here is my package delivery package, who knows? But now that more people are traveling, perhaps more people are also doing all-inclusive. Because now we're seeing that there are a lot more searches for all-inclusive and packages and all-inclusive. Perhaps Google thinks that they're one of the same too. But this will help you. This can help you with anything that you do, and sometimes even deciding on specific labels. My recommendation is actually save it, make it one of your favorite, and then it will be handy when you're actually going to think about your labels or for your specific categories for UI. Okay. So we have a bit more about the reading, and then I share with you some notes. So what I do is, as I go through the semester, or as I go through this course and teaching with other students, sometimes I will add some notes to the content so that you can benefit from. And then here I've added a note about what are some of the activities that are undertaken. Let me share again. When we do an I, and you're going to hear this. So information architecture, we say information obviously has content. So there's going to be content available to you. And then if you're writing a new site for someone, for a new business, they may have little to almost no content. And that's okay. You'll have an opportunity to rewrite. But if you're working for an existing business and you want to do the IA and you want to redo the IA, the first thing that you will need to do is to understand what kind of content they have, right? Then we're going to do some grouping on information. Then once we have a group of content that is related, then you have to give them a name. You have to say this group is about products, right? Maybe you're going to find that it's product related and there's flight and there's car, there are hotels, and you're going to say this is all products. So you have a name, a category for that bucket called our products. Then maybe you're going to see that there's content that has email us, contact us, help, news, and then you'll say all of these contents seem to be about us, right? So this is what we mean by taxonomy, but the taxonomy will be your category, and taxonomy will be the name that you want to use on each of the boxes to actually get to the content. And then your descriptive information creation as well. So that is useful for Google. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but I invite you to read the readings, to go through the readings and those little notes. And then we have the lesson slides. So those are available and we are going to start today. Then this is where you're going to find the lab. So we have a lab for this week. It's latched. So we're going to come back to it before the end of the class. But if you click on, so the labs are available on each of the weeks. And this slide will take you about an hour to do. Yes, it's due by this Monday by midnight. Okay. And it is 1 point. So I have to update the little lab info. Bear with me. I made some adjustment today. I'm just going to add 1 point. So it's 1% of your mark, but I highly recommend you to do the lab so that you get some feedback and it will make you better IAs. So every week, if there's a lab, which there will be 5 weeks out of 7 that there will be a lab, this is where you will find it. And if you click on it, it will tell you the dates. And then often there will be an attachment that will give you the instructions. And then here I give you more information about Latch. What is Latch? And we're going to spend a bit of time today on Latch as well. So it's due by Monday, and then everybody has to submit their lab through the platform, and it will come to me, and I will do my best to mark it within 5 days to give you feedback. And this Latch is very much about categorization. How do we categorize group content? Multiple ways of showing the content to the user. And then Latch is just a little acronym. It's very relevant for IAs, and it will be relevant on how people actually look for information. And then I think you'll have fun doing it. And I will think that you're probably going to spend not more than an hour on this specific lab item. Okay, it's supposed to be fun. Then you will see some async videos. So I have videos from previous semester from teaching this course. As I have said, because we have so much content, I will be redirecting you to those videos that you can look on your own too. And I highly encourage you, because we're not going to be able to go through the 100 slides today. And then what I do is I also list in here some of the concepts that are being introduced in those videos. And then if you have questions about those videos, we can discuss them in class next week, or you can email me and I'll be happy to assist you. But if you go through, if you come to class and or if you're not and you're listening to my recordings and you go through the async videos that I have that I post every week, and you go through your reading, you will do pretty good. And then if you do your lab and get feedback and you do the assignment, you'll be well equipped when it comes to IA. And the feedback that I got at the end of this class from the 2 other semester was, wow, there's so much to IA. I had no idea that IA meant all of this. But people love it, love the structure and love the lab, feedback in assignment, feedback, assignment, feedback, assignment. And this class, in the 2 last semester that I taught it, was taught over the course of 7 weeks. 7 weeks, all of it too, including the big project. So now at least you have 7 more weeks to do the big project. But the previous students had all of the assignments, including the big project, in 7 weeks. They had 6 hours a week. So it was very, really intense, and they've managed to do back-to-back lab feedback assignments as well. Now, if I were to go to the slides, if you're worried, lazy, or on fire, I have a feeling I would get more worried, but that's not the intent. But we are going to work this through. Okay. So yes, there is an assignment due for Monday. It's not an assignment, it's a lab. They're optional, but you're going to lose 5% points, and but look at them as opportunities to get feedback. Yes, I can see Shubham, we have your hand. How can I help?
Yeah, yes, sir. Everybody's confused about that particular thing. So it very clearly says use your learnings from assignment one, and we haven't done assignment one, and it says use card sorting, which you learned in assignment one, to complete assignment two. So how do we go about that? And it says it's due in 4 days, so 13th September, I guess. Uh,
Okay, so we're saying, okay, so
Assignment
let's
two, sir.
just,
Assignment two. Yeah,
oh, assignment two?
yeah. This.
Okay, let me
This
just
says it's
go.
due on 13th September, yeah, in 4 days.
Okay, so yeah, there's no assignment due for September 13. Let me just I'm just gonna make it unavailable. I don't want people to panic. So it's probably when I moved over the assignment. So let me just review it. So don't worry about assignment two and for the due days on assignment two.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now, if I see that, oh, in fact, there is an assignment coming before October, I will tell you. But let's just look at the critical path. So the first assignment for court sorting is is the week of October 1st, but I give you to the Monday. So the first assignment, real assignment, will be the Monday, October 4th, as is. So assignment number 2 will be the week of October 8th. So you can see according to the critical path, which you can't see now. So let me just share with you. But I will fix it. And thank you for flagging it. So what you will see on the due date. So this week we have a weekly lab, and all labs are due Monday at midnight. Okay. And then week 2 we have a lab. Week 3 we have a lab. Your first real big assignment for 15% will be cart assorting. So it's the week 4th, which our class is October 1st, but you will have until the Monday to midnight. Now, if we feel that we need to extend a bit of that date because cart sorting may be a little bit more demanding in terms of time, we'll have flexibility as we go there. Okay, who knows, maybe we'll be able to do card sorting a little bit earlier in terms of even the session in the module. I do adapt to the class too, but I will fix the date for assignment 2. The assignment 2 will be the following week, so it's obviously not the date that it should be as it is. Thank you for flagging it. Okay, so I just saw another hand raised as well, but I didn't see the question. So yes, what was the question from the raise? Someone just raised their hand.
Just wanted to ask, are we supposed to do the labs individually or in a group?
All of the assignments will tell you exactly if it's a group assignment or if it's a lab. The lab for this week is individuals. The lab for this week is individuals, and let's see for the following week. So this week, the lab is individuals. Okay. And then the assignments are group assignment, but there are times where I may ask you that I want to see what you've done individually, but it's still going to be a submission, one submission. But I may want to say I want to see what you might have done, what each of the team member has done, so I can give feedback. But the goal is all assignments in this class for this class are done in groups, in the same teams that you're working for 5112. But the labs for this week, the lab is individual. And then I think for the following week, the labs will be teams. But the teams that you have formed for 5111 will be the same team that you will do your the assignments that are based on teams. So this week, the lab is individual labs. You can consult with your teams if you want, but you should not be submitting all the same answers for this week. And then next week, do I have the lab yet? Next week, it's in your teams, but there's individual pieces. So again, what's really important is really pay attention to the instructions of each of the lab and each of the assignments. But for this course, most of the assignments are all done in teams, and it's the same team that you have in 5112. Did I answer the question? Perfect. Good. If it's not clear and you still have questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to bring in the clarity as well. Okay. So let's carry on to our content for today. So we were in Blackboard, and let's see what else. So, and the recording. So today's recording will be available under the recording class recording in this week's, just like 5112. And let me share it with you so you can see it. So class recording. And this is I'm gonna load them to YouTube, and they'll have closed caption as well, so you'll be able to view all of the recording for each of the week there too. So that is a structure for every week. So we are in week 1, and then next week you will see something very similar, and then you will see the assignments. The first one is October 4th. So we have a bit of time, but you can already click and you can already get a sense of what the first assignment will be. And this will be chord sorting. And it is a group project. So the first assignment is a group project. And then let me just share with you so that you get a bit of a sense. Okay. So again, this information is already available for you. And here's the difference. So the project that you pick with Yvonne. So the project that you pick with Yvonne, the brand that you pick with Yvonne, and Yvonne has asked you to pick a brand, will be your main project. But I asked you to pick a brand as well that for 5112 for us. Let me just drop something here. So yesterday I said, think of a company that you will that we're going to use for 5112 as well. So let's say that you've picked Shopper Drug Mart. So you'll have the option to pick Shopper Drug Mart or the zoo. So in the previous semester, I gave all the students the zoo. But you could pick, if you wanted, something else in the zoo, and you could pick your Shopper Drug Mart. But you will have to give me a bit of a brief about your audience and what some of the choices that you will make for your project for this assignment if you want it. So if we look at right now, we have the zoo for assignment number 1 for the chord sorting. But if you want to choose the same projects that you're going to be working with me on 11-12, if you want, you could. Let me pause here. So we're going to have, in 5112, yesterday I asked you to pick a project. I said, pick a company that you will want to work for the semester. We're going to do heuristic evaluation, and we're going to do usability testing on that website. So if you, let's say, pick your team. So the team that you've picked at 5112 will be the same team for this class for all of your assignments. So that's done. Then if you've already picked a project like Shopper Drug Mart, you could stick to Shopper Drug Mart for 5111 with me for all of my pieces for these pieces. And for assignment 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you could use Shopper Drug Mart to do your chord sorting. But you will need to then create a brief like I have here for the zoo. You'll have to give me a little bit of who is Shopper Drug Mart, who are their main audiences, and so that there's something equivalent and a list of content and features for Shopper Drug Mart that you would include in your redesign to do your chord sorting. Okay, so what I suggest that you do is maybe on the weekend, you read the assignment with the zoo for the zoo. You could stick to the zoo if you wanted for this class for my assignments, not the major project. But for IE navigation and the diagram and the navigation and the user flow, you could pick Shopper Drug Mart if that's the one that you've picked, and then read the assignments with the zoo details. But then you would have to replace the zoo with Shopper Drug Mart or any other business that you have. But you will have to give me a brief so that I understand your company, who are your audiences, who are your main users, and then the choice of content and features that you will be including in your chord sorting. Right now it may be blurry, but please have a look at the assignments, and or you could stick to the zoo if you want it in this course. Since we're going to stick to the zoo, But when we are going to do the final main big project to bring it all together, this is where we are going to use the same brand that Yvonne has asked you to choose. I don't know if she's asked you yet to choose. Has Yvonne asked you yesterday to choose about Netflix, Loblaws, Uber Eats, or another brand? Yes. Okay. That choice be also what you will use for our final project, our final piece that you'll be building. That is 40% for this course. Let me just share with you again. So here, if I recap, you could use, let's say if you have Shopper Drug Smart that you said that you would want to use with me for 5112, you could use Shopper Drug Smart for IA cart sorting, IA site mapping, IA site navigation design, IA user flow, visual diagramming, if you want to. And then the final project will be the same brand that you've selected with Yvonne. So you'll be doing a repeat of the 4 assignment with us, but you're going to repeat it with the Yvonne project. And then we're going to do usability testing as well on that project. The formal usability testing on that project too. Okay. Yes, Maria.
I wanted to tell you, yesterday we were talking to Yvonne and she asked us if we were going to have groups, and we tell her that we already had some groups that we work with you. And she wasn't sure, so she told us that she was going to talk to you if we were going to use the same groups and the same brands. So we're kind of
Yeah,
confused
so
there.
I say it's easier if all use the same groups, don't you think?
Yes.
The same teams. I think it's easier to all use the same teams. And we're doing this for another mega course too. So I say stick to the same teams for this class in 5112.
And what about the brands? We will use the
Yeah,
same
so
one for all of them, or?
so for the final project, okay, for the final project, if we look at what we have on screen for this class, for the final project for this class, and what we will do is we will use the same brand that Yvonne has asked you to use. So whether it's Netflix, Uber Eats, Loblaws, which other one did she ask you to pick? So if you pick Loblaws with Yvonne, then you will pick Loblaws for your final project in this class as well. And
Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. I think we didn't check that yet. I don't know if everyone's agree with me, but we were waiting to see which one we can choose because we weren't sure about the groups.
Okay. And then Mia asked you in 5112, I asked you to pick also a brand for our assignments that we are going to do for assignment 567, right? So, and perhaps you've made a choice as well of which brand you want to work with. And maybe it's going to be, let's say, Shopper Drug Smart. Then you will use with me for 5112 for our assignments for our, let's see, our assignments, you're going to use the Shopper Drug Smart as well. Then when I'm for 5112, when I'm saying for 5111, okay, for assignment for the cart sorting, site mapping, navigation design, the user flow, you can, if you want, you can also use Shopper Drug Smart. Or you can use the zoo. I've already gave the zoo. I've already gave the brief, the zoo, and the details for the zoo. You could do Toronto Zoo for all of the assignments, 1, 2, 3, 4 assignments in this class. But the final project you will do for the brand that you selected with Yvonne. Okay, so that is the direction. I can also speak to Yvonne and Asma, but that was the what we had originally thought that we should do. I can touch base with her if we are making changes, but definitely the same teams will be a lot easier for all of you I use the same teams, work on the same teams for 5112 and 5111. And then Yvonne has asked you to pick a brand too, so you can pick the brand with Yvonne. And me, I have asked you to pick a brand as well for 5112. And but are bringing it together in a big project that we are for 40% here is the intent is that we will build for one of the same brand that you've picked with Yvonne, whether it's Loblaws or Uber or Uber Eats or Netflix, and then we're all going to work on building, and then we'll test as well. We'll do the testing, the big project testing. Because there's also a bringing it together for usability testing too, right? I know this gets very confusing, but believe me, at this point, pick a team, and then you do have to think of a brand for 5112. And I would suggest for my class, I would suggest that you use the same for maybe our assignment in here, or you can also use or the zoo. Yes, Sophia.
Just from my understanding, if I'm understanding it correctly,
Yeah.
zoo is going to be for 5111
Correct.
main big project, correct?
No.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm. So I think I may need to have do a little diagram to make sure that there's no confusion.
Yeah,
about
because there's
this.
a lot of confusion. There's one we need to pick for main project for like Netflix or whatever we need to pick for her. And then
Yes.
there's one that we need to do one big project with combination of 5112
Yes.
combined
So
with this one.
yes, Sophia, if this helped the team, when you hear the big project will be the same big project for 5112 and 5111 and with Yvonne as well. So then it will be one brand. Then it will be the Netflix, Uber Eats, or Loblaws, or the other brand. So the big project is the big project. It's with Yvonne, myself, and Asma. It's going to be that one brand that Yvonne has asked you to build for your portfolio, right? She's asking you to build something for the portfolio. That is the big project. So me and Asma are aligning with Yvonne's big project, which is either the Netflix or the Uber Eats or the Loblaws, and the other one that will be the big project. So here the zoo is for 5111. It will be either the zoo, or it can be your project that I ask you, your brand that I ask you to pick in 5112 for the first 4 assignment in 5112 as well. But I will do a little picture that to remove that confusion, because I don't want to anybody to be confused. And then I want to move on to our networks. Oh, it's Zoom. I think the company that Yvonne, the company Yvonne gave you is Zoom. Okay. Okay, Michael. So Michael, you have I like what you did, and then let me. I want to look at it with and not you say yes or no and make it even more confusing. So I'm gonna copy paste it, send myself a note. That way I don't confuse anybody in the class more, because that will not be fun and kind of me. But I will confirm, and I will put even maybe a little diagram if it's easier for everybody. Don't worry, we're gonna get through it and all together. So, but I don't think that it's gonna be much different. It's really just a question of just all being clear. Okay. Now I can see that there are some team members that are looking for teams. So maybe what I invite you to do is look at who's still looking for teams in the chat and try to connect. Or perhaps we can use some time at the end of the class and say who is still not connected with a team. Everybody else can leave. Who is not connected, and then we can mingle and see who can connect with who as a team. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so I have a takeaway item for you. I will perhaps even put a little more notes so that we all clear on the assignments, which brand and what the big project is, and for which brand with me, 5112, which brand for 5111, and it will all be 100% clear. I may just do that over the weekend too. And then, yes, if you guys want to create something, a document for to keep track of all the teams and the people, anybody is welcome to create something on Google Drive and share with all of us, and then we can make it available. We can add it to the class. So yeah, if someone wants to take the lead, maybe Sophia, and create and share with the entire class so that people can see who's still left alone, and then we can do teams, or maybe even a mirror board. That's okay too, but Excel might be a better idea. I love the initiative. Thank you. Okay, so let's go then to this week's content, because we have a lot of content. It's 1:45, so we already have an hour and almost 15 minutes. We are in this for together until 3:20. And then don't worry, we are going to be all super clear on all of the projects. It's normal to feel a bit that way because it's the big concept. There's a lot of value in the approach of mega courses, but we will get better as we all go through it together. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip through and go back to where we were. Okay, so in terms of my recommendation, the teams, I think we all agree. So the team should be the same for 5112, 5111. So pick the same people, and then we've looked at the schedule. So the schedule, we've already looked at the schedule when we're meeting. Easy, online every Friday for week 17. It'll be me. We look at the assignments in the lab. We just have to get more clarity on the brands, but we will clear that out. And if I will send a course message or an announcement, and you will all have the information available. And if you have questions after that, please let me know. But do think about a brand that you would like to work with for 5112 for the assignments that we've discussed yesterday. And that because we do need to have a brand to work with outside of the big project, which is Uber Eats, Zoom, Netflix, or Loblaws. Okay, so think of a brand that you would want to work with for the assignments that we're going to do in 5112 together, and 5111 as well. A typical week, we've already looked at a typical week. Now we're moving into information architecture. Great, thank you, Michael. I really, really appreciate or whoever's putting together the Excel sheets. Very, very appreciated. So I do have people that have reached out to me and said, Professor, I don't have anybody with who I can pair up. So very important. Information architecture is done in teams, and you will learn from your teammates too. Okay, so let's jump into information architecture. This is a very good quote from the book. Information architecture is not about surface glamour. It's about mission critical infrastructure. So it's infrastructure. So as I said, it's a house. We're either building a house, or we're building a condo, or we're building 2 levels, 3 levels, and then it's going to be your blueprint. So it's not something that we build every day. Information architecture is something that we build and we probably stick with for 5 to 10 years. So we have to be very serious in the choices that we make. It doesn't mean that we can never update it, but when you think of IA, you think of you're building an IA for a long term. You will make it better, you will improve it over time, but don't think that you're building an IA and tomorrow or in the 6 months you will change it. That's never the intent. It has huge impact. And I share with you some numbers, and it's helping people, finding people, searching. So if it's poorly done, it's going to be a challenge for people to navigate their sites. And this is where you're going to hear the site is hard to use. The site doesn't seem like they know me. The site doesn't feel like they've done their homework to read the user and the user task and the user flow. Okay, so it's a long-term commitment. It's a long-term commitment that you do. You can improve it over time, but it's infrastructure. It's your blueprint. Once you've decided that you're going to have these amount of rooms and these amount of floors, and it's a house and it's not a condo, Everything else will follow. So the I is your first deliverable. So you better be good and feel good about the I that you've designed as well. Okay, so we're going to do a quick little exercise right now. And you can do it individually or you can do it in teams if you want in breakouts. It's up to you. Let me go through the exercise and you will tell me how you would like to do it. So as I said, we're going to move into actions and we're going to do a little bit of discovery or opportunities to talk with your class or your classmate. Here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to think of a brand. So maybe you want to think of, maybe some of you have already think of a brand. I asked you in 5112 to have a brand. If you already picked a brand, then think of that brand. And hopefully you have not been to the site too often or you have been to the site, and that's okay too. But if you have not, think of a brand, and maybe try to think of a brand or a company you've never visited so that you don't know too many about them. So that's one. The second thing, I want you to think of a user type. So think of a user type and a user goal. So user type or user goal. Anybody has a bit of an idea of what do I mean by user type or user goal? Everybody's busy trying to find teammates. Yeah, so it could be the level of comfort with a specific technology. Yes, Maria.
I would say the kind of user, it's about if this person has certain age or has certain necessities, and a goal
Yeah,
would be if I'm going to buy something or do something specific on the website, regardless their ethnics, maybe.
Yes. No, it's all very, very good answers. So I think these are characteristic, right? They're characteristic about a certain individual, someone who's coming to your site to visit to do something X, right? Absolutely. Here's a very good, and I can keep it very level. Consumer, and you're going to say, well, that's very broad. Or business, right? If I think of airline, travel, Air Canada has consumer or business travel. So that could be an example of consumer. So we could say we're going to focus on consumer. So someone who actually maybe goes to Shoppers Drug Mart and wants to buy a product X. So we could say it's going to be, we have a consumer and maybe we want a consumer. It could be male, female, whatever. We don't need to go to this level of detail. I would say that's even too specific. So we could say consumer or B2C, someone who's B2C. And an example of user goal is maybe book a flight, right? Maybe I want to book a flight. The pen is funny. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to go to the website that you've picked and you're going to try to do it or at least find. So let's say if you said book a flight and you said, I'm going to use Sunwing, then I want you to go to the site and see, can I easily find book a flight and or not? Or perhaps you pick something else. And then if you want, click on it and try to go through the experience and then we'll discuss that. So, but I'm very interested about findability. How easy is it? And I want you to try to think about a user goal that you think is very representative of what the majority of why people actually go to the website that you think. You'll be amazed to see that for some of them, it's actually not that easy to find or even do if you want to go as far as trying to do that thing. So that is what I'd like for you to do. That's a very quick, easy exercise, but don't be surprised if you find that you'll be disappointed or happily surprised, which is good. You can do this on your own if you want, or you can do this with your teams too. Do you guys have any preferences? We're not going to be spending too much time on this, but I can open breakouts if you want. What would you like? Okay, so you can do solo. I can open breakouts if some people want breakouts, or you can do a little bit of solo and spend some time. Team sounds nice. Okay, some people are craving to be with teams, and let me just open. So I have opened assign because course group set course randomly assign. I'm going to randomly assign people to teams. I'm going to do maybe 5 teams, and you are allowed to move, switch if you want. Okay, and then I can come and visit. But let's spend about five minutes on this little exercises. I'll get a pulse to see how we're doing, and then we can all come back to the room. Those of you who want to do solo, just stay here. Don't go to any breakouts, but you can go to a breakout if you want. I don't think anybody is going to be forced to be assigned. And then. Yes, so it's been a while that I used the breakouts, but I don't think you may all end up in breakouts. But if you head out to a breakout and you want to do on your own, that's okay too.